Okay, so class, you remember last week we talked about finding subjects and we talked a little bit about finding verbs because really they go together. Subjects and verbs are like two shoes that belong to the same pair, a pair of shoes, right? Today we're going to focus a little bit more on verbs. So we're kind of completing our chapter here together. Uh, so to begin with, as our warm up today, I want us to practice looking at subjects and verbs again. Okay, so I'm going to mute everybody's microphone so we can talk here, or I can talk. So there's two sentences I had put on the whiteboard, and I asked you to label S for subject, V for verb. Okay, and when we are using the verb, remember we're talking about the conjugated verb, not just every verb in the sentence. So when we look at number one, it looks kind of like we have two verbs. It looks like we have walking and was. But when we look closer, I want you to see that walking is actually the subject of the sentence. Because we want to ask ourselves a question. What was fun? Okay, so if Sammy says, "Hey, teacher, I had a good weekend last weekend," and I say, "Well, really, what did you do? What was fun?" She's going to say something like, "Oh, walking downtown was fun," or "visiting with my friends was fun." So when we have this ing word at the beginning of a sentence, it's probably going to be the subject. And in this case, it is. The reason is because we are talking about walking downtown. And we've got the verb conjugated there, was. So that's correct. Was is the verb. And that makes a complete thought. Okay. So again, I asked myself the question, what was fun? And the answer is walking. You can also use the complete subject, which would be walking downtown. Okay. So in other words, and your book gives an example of this, and we'll look at that in a minute. The word walking, is what we call the simple subject. Okay, that's like if we had to narrow it down to just one word, it would be the word walking. Okay, but we can also say, well, walking downtown is a subject. Yeah, that's what we call the complete subject. All right, but we need to be careful because if we just say downtown is the subject, that would be wrong. Downtown by itself is not a subject. Why? Because I cannot say downtown was fun. It's not downtown, it's the walking that was fun. Okay? So the main subject is walking. But if we want to, we can include walking downtown as the subject. Okay? Does anybody have a question about this? If you do, you can turn your microphone on and ask a question. And by the way, welcome, Lucia. I see you joined us just in time. So welcome.
Thank you, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to number 2 then. Let's look closely at this one. So we've got my friends, I. Those are the subjects, and that is correct. Okay, and we have the complete verb here, have seen. This is important to underline both parts because both parts are the complete conjugated verb. Okay, so we need both of these. Now, what I noticed in Black, you guys did the discussion board last week, and I gave you 5 sentences. And remember I said I know it's going to be difficult, but I want to just see what you already know. By the way, I already posted all the correct answers in Blackboard. So if you go back to the discussion board, you will see my post at the very top with the answers. So I want everybody to make sure you check the answers sometime today if you haven't yet. That's important for you to learn and kind of get understanding about this, okay? But in there, I noticed some people were underlining lots of different words, like the word hour. And some of you were underlining words that were not really verbs. Like some of you just continued on and you said, oh, I think this is part of the verb because it's so close. You know, or some of you said, well, this is like a subject down here. But no, we need to be careful because there are a lot of words in a sentence that are not subjects and not verbs. Like every shop and downtown, these are not subjects or verbs. So that's what we're going to practice a lot in this class, is focusing in on exactly what the subjects are and what the conjugated verb is, okay? So here we've got my friends is the subject, I is a subject, and then have seen is the verb. Okay, if anybody has a question, just turn your microphone on. Okay. By the way, in number 2 here, the verb tense is present perfect. Present perfect always has 2 parts to the verb. Okay. All right, let's go to number 2. This is another thing we talked about last week. How do we find subjects? How do we find subjects? Okay, how do we find subjects? So one person just put the word who up here. Who is a question we can ask to find the subjects. But what is a subject? What is it going to be? What type of word will it be?
The subject is a place, it's a noun, it's a person, and we can identify with some questions like who or where or what about of these nouns or place or person.
Right. Exactly. So we can ask who or what. So how do we find subjects? We want to look for a noun or a pronoun that is going to be before the conjugated verb. And I put here usually before because there are some exceptions, like with here and there. But notice my friends, I, those are, we got my friends, that's a noun, friends. I is a pronoun, okay? And these are, and I is a subject pronoun, by the way. It's always going to be a subject. If you want to use a pronoun that's not a subject, you have to change it to me, because me will never be a subject, okay? But anyways, maybe we'll talk about pronouns a little later. But noun or pronoun before the verb. So friends, I, those are nouns and pronouns, and they are before the verb. They are on the left side of the verb, okay? And then also walking. Walking is actually considered a noun because it's activity. It's specifically in grammar we call it a gerund, okay? A gerund is another type of, a gerund is a type of noun, all right? So we're looking for nouns and pronouns that come before the conjugated verb. That's going to help us locate where the subject is. And then the second part, what questions can we ask? We can ask ourselves who and what. Don't forget about what, right? So you can ask who did or who does the action or what. What did the action? Right? So let's practice with number 1. Walking downtown was fun. What What was fun? What was fun? Walking downtown. So that means walking downtown is a subject. Number 2, who has seen every shop downtown? The answer is my friends and I. So the answer to the question tells us what the subject is. Who has seen every shop downtown? My friends and I. So my friends and I is the subject. Okay? So those are a couple of ways. I want to give you some ways to help you find subjects. Any questions about this, class? No. Okay, I hope you're awake. I hope you're with me today because we got lots to do. So before I leave this page, Isabel, I already talked to you about your lab. And Lucia, I wanted to talk to you about your discussion board. So if you don't know what that is.
No, teacher, no, I don't know.
You know, okay. Okay, we just missed your post in there. It was a challenging assignment, but it was due last week.
It's a homework that I didn't. Or
Right. Yeah, it was homework last week.
last week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check. Is this one, teacher?
It's not in your book. Is that your book?
Yeah, it's yes. No, I print this homework from the website, but I don't know
No,
if this
it's not that. It's not that. It's
No?
something else. I will take you, I'll show you real quick. But we're going to talk about chapter. We're going to go over those answers next. So if everybody go to page, let's see, where are we? Page 137 in your book. We're going to check our next. And Lucia, can you see my screen real quick?
Yes, teacher. This
On the left side,
okay.
we have a discussion board right here. Due Friday, August 28th. And we already gave all the answers and everything. Okay.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do it now. Well, today, teacher.
If you want to, I already posted the answers. So you can look there, check your answers when you're done. But just so you know, when you're in your lessons folder, when you're in your lessons for week 1, we start at the top and we start here and we move down. So if you look here.
Okay, wait an assignment.
Oh, you guys did the plagiarism already. And we go down, there's Sammy. But look at the bottom here. This is for week 1, discussion board.
Okay.
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 So when you're checking the week folder, make sure you get all of these, the checklist.
Okay.
The checklist will tell you everything that's in this folder for the week.
Okay.
Everything here. And that's a way for everybody to make sure that you've got everything. Okay.
Okay, teacher. Okay.
Okay, good. So everybody, and I'm going to share the lesson for today. This is crazy. Let me get. Okay. I think it's so funny how it looks. Let me do something real quick. Let me move this. Okay, this will help. Okay. If you cannot see my screen, then I want you to just click on the raise your hand button and let me know that there's a problem. But before we begin checking our answers to the book homework, I want to just mention really quickly that we have our My Writing Lab that we need to be working on a little bit each week. Okay, so I already went in here. Everybody except one person is already in My Writing Lab. So thank you for doing that. I want to encourage you to keep working on the path builders. Okay, so on your home screen, I've circled a couple of things I want you to look at. You get to My Writing Lab. Okay, at the top it says take a tour. This will give you, it's like a 3-minute video on how to click on things and what to do in My Writing Lab. So that's a quick video you can watch. And I want you to click on the learning path and click these blue rectangles that say Path Builder. Okay, Writing Skills has a Path Builder and ESL Skills has a Path Builder. The Path Builder is about 30 or 40 questions. You need to finish all of those questions by Friday. Okay, I want everybody to finish your Path Builder by Friday. So all of these done. When you finish it, activity to work on, and it will say next activity. Okay, so you can work in any of these after you finish your Path Builder. And over on the right side of the screen, if you see that I circled that red dot, this is September 18th. Okay, that's in 2 weeks. On September 18th, you have 2 post-tests that are due. Okay, they're part of the writing skills, and it's a post-test, which means you have to finish your Path Builder first, and you have to work on the activities that it gives you, and then it will lead you to the test. Okay, so it takes a couple of activities first before you get to the post-test. And later I'll go in and I'll show you what it looks like, what the post-test looks like. But for this week, I just want everybody to path builders for the writing skills and the ESL skills. And if you're still confused, you don't know how to do that, I want you to email me or talk to me, and I can show you the video here before you leave today. Okay? If anybody has a question and you need more help, you can let me know. Turn on your microphone and you can let me know.
Teacher,
Yes.
I finished in this part
Yes.
two or three texts. I don't remember exactly, but we need to finish all of the quizzes. All of quizzes.
No, you don't have to finish all the tests and all the quizzes. You do not. What I do want you to do by September 18th is there's 2 tests that I want you to finish. And for you to know the test, you can click on that red dot, September 18th. If you click on the red dot, it will show you the tests, and you can get to them there, okay? But if you're not ready for the test yet, then I want you to go click on next activity. Next activity, yeah, for your writing skills activity. Okay, so we're just working little by little in all 4 of these skills. Like you can do 2 skills of these. Okay, anybody else have a question about this before we move on?
No, teacher.
Okay, good. So, Lucia, can you mute your microphone again?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's check the homework. Now, I don't have an electronic copy of the homework, so I had to go in here and try to write on it and take a screenshot picture. But we are looking right now on page 137, practice 1. Page 137, practice 1. And these are the answers to your homework. So I did the first 8 here, and then we'll do 9 and 10 together so I can make sure you understand. So number 1, the complete subject is the whole name, and it's also the simple subject, okay? And number 2, the complete subject. Remember, complete subject means like the descriptors, the adjectives that describe the subject word. Okay, so her supportive family, all of that is the complete subject. And the simple subject is just family. So I can ask a question in number 2. Who was not musical? The answer is family. Or the answer is her supportive family. Okay. So we're looking for these subjects. Number 4, we circle and underline singing. That's a gerund. Number 5, we underline her best friend. We circle friend. Number 6, we underline a record company executive, and we circle executive. Okay, executive is what we call the head noun. It's the main noun of the subject. The other words are just describing the executive. And number 7, we circle and underline, let's see, Shingai Shoniwa. Yeah, Shingai Shoniwa. That's the complete subject and the simple subject. Number 8, we underline the Noiset's vocalist, and we circle vocalist. Okay, if anybody has a question on number 1 through 8,
I
please.
have on number 1. I have a question on number 1. So Adele Lauren Blue Atkins is the subject, right?
Yes.
So the verb is the same, or was born?
The verb is was born.
Okay. So why you circle all the name Adele Lauren Blue Atkins?
Because that is the simple subject. It asks, the directions ask you to circle the simple subject. In this one, we're not doing anything with the verbs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not underlining, we're not circling verbs in this activity.
Okay.
So, right, Adele is her name, so we have to circle all of that. It's a proper noun. Just like in number 7, we circled both of the words capital, so they're a proper noun. It's a name.
Got it.
Okay, good question. Anybody else have a question? Just turn your microphone on. Okay, so let's go to number 9, and I'm going to ask some of my quiet people in the class. So let's see. Carolina, I haven't heard from you today, so can you help us with number 9? What do we underline and what do we circle? Carolina.
Teacher, I'm not sure if it's writing the subject or somewhere.
That's okay. Just guess.
I think underline the British singer and circle singer.
Okay, so singer. So that's kind of at the end of the sentence. So that's kind of an alarm or a red flag to me. We need to be careful about finding subjects all the way at the end. Let's go back to the verb became. Became is the verb.
Okay.
So we can ask ourselves a question. What became a priority for the singer?
Okay, writing.
What became a priority for the singer? What's the answer to the question?
writing? It's the
Yep.
subject.
Yep. So writing is the subject. So that's going to be a key to help you. I want you to look at the verb and then ask a question. Who or what became? Or who or what? Like number 8. Who or what influenced Adele? The answer would be the Noisettes vocalist. So keep asking yourself the question, who or what, then have the verb in your question. Who or what was born? Who or what entered? Who or what became? Right? You can do that question for all of these. So number 9, who or what writing. Writing became a priority. So writing is the subject. Okay, you got it, Carolina?
Yes, teacher, thank you.
Okay, good job, good job. So we're going to circle and underline writing in number 9. Okay, good. Let's see. Let me ask Sammy. Sammy, can you do number 10?
Yes. Many young fans is subject.
Yep. Okay, what do we circle and what do we?
Is underline. Many
Yes.
young fans.
Okay. And what about the circle?
Circle is
We circle just
young
simple subject, which would be fans.
fans. Yes.
Okay, good job, Sammy. So we underline young fans and we circle fans. Okay. Now,
Yes.
just so you know, fans in this sentence, fans are people who love or really like some another person. So if you really like the singer Beyonce, you can say, I am a fan of Beyonce. So a fan is a person who really likes another person or thing. Okay. All right. If you have any questions about these, let me know before we go to the second one.
No.
Okay, everybody good. All right. So let's go to the next one and to help me with number 4 through 8. But let's do number 1 and 2, 3 first. So this time we are only circling the simple subjects. We're circling the simple subjects. So number 1, we circle devices. Now, why are we circling the subject way over there at the end of the sentence? Does anybody know why? Why is this at the end? For number 1, why is devices the subject?
Because the devices are available.
Yeah, that's another way we can say in the sentence various audio devices are available, right? Yeah, so this is a restructured sentence. It's a special kind of sentence structure because we started with there. When we have there are, there is, there was, there were, those are going to have subjects after the verb. So devices is the subject. And we can ask a question, what is available? What is available? The answer is various audio devices. So number 1, subject is devices. Number 2, the subject is people. Okay, we can ask a question, who listens to loud music on their iPads or smartphones? Who listens? The answer is the people. Okay, so we circle people. Number 3, we have 2 subjects, Marco and Gina. So who wore earbuds to listen to songs? The answer is Marco and Gina. Okay, anybody have questions? 1, 2, or 3?
No, no for me.
Okay.
No, teacher.
All right, so let's go to number 4, and I want to ask Isabel. Isabel, can you help us with number 4? What do we circle?
Students.
Yes, students. Very good. And so students is the subject, the main subject, and have is the verb. Okay, so we circle the subject, students. And let's see, Gerardo, can you do number 5?
Yes, headphones.
Yes, we circle headphones in number 5. Okay. And Lucia, can you do number 6? What do we circle? Which word?
Loud noise. Noise.
Yes, noise. Circle noise
Mhm.
for number 6.
Yeah.
Good job. Okay. And number 7, let's see. I don't remember who else, if somebody else had joined us or not. Carolina, we can go back to you. Number 7.
Saw, teacher.
Very good. Oh, this one is hard.
Pardon?
Very good. You did good. Okay, Lucia, turn off your microphone.
I am.
I don't know why, but your computer gives us a lot of noise here. So let's talk about number 7. The word saw is a thing. What a power saw is. That's what people use to cut down trees in their yard. Okay, that is an object. It's a thing. It's a machine. So we're going to circle the word saw. That is the subject. Okay, and then number 8. I'm challenging too. Let's see, who's next? Sammy, can you tell us about number 8?
Yes. Is
That's difficult.
avoid
It is hard. Avoid,
prolonged
prolonged,
prolonged is subject or
no, but that's a good try, Sammy. If you have your book, you can look at the top of page 138. The top of page 138. And you will see it says unstated subject commands. This is an example of a command. So number 8, the subject is you. But we do not have the word written here because it is a command. If you look at the top of this practice, look where it says example. You should listen to music as often as possible. Listen to music. Listen is the verb. You is a subject, but we don't write it in the sentence. So number 8, avoid is the verb. So the subject is actually you.
okay.
Okay, every time we have a like sit down, stand up, open your book, all of those commands have the same subject. The subject will be you. The subject will be you. Okay, good. All right, any questions?
No, teacher.
All right, guys, we're ready to begin. Okay, so my first question, I want to read the letters yet. Has anybody heard of the word preposition? Preposition. Does anybody know what that means? Preposition.
Yes.
Okay, Gerardo, what is a preposition?
The preposition is like oh no, I'm confused. I'm sorry. I I was thinking about article. No,
Okay, articles. But an article is a, an, and the.
yes, I'm sorry. No, I don't know.
Okay, no problem. I appreciate your enthusiasm to try to answer questions. That's good.
I
Okay,
think it's a compliment, no?
it's a compliment.
Yeah, for the prices.
Well, a preposition can be part of a compliment, but a compliment is more specific. A compliment is part of a sentence that comes after a linking verb. So prepositions, they can come anywhere in the sentence. They can be before the verb, they can be after the verb. But prepositions are these little words. A lot of times they just have 2 or 3 letters, but some of them are longer. But they are little words that connect nouns to other phrases in the sentence. Okay? If you do a search in Google and you type in list of prepositions, you will see about 40 or 50 different prepositions. So some examples are the words in, at, from, of, about. All of these are examples of prepositions. Okay? So let's talk about a phrase. A phrase is a group of words that does not have a subject and it does not have a conjugated verb. So it's going to be, it cannot have both the subject and the verb. All right? It's not a complete sentence. That's what we call a phrase. So what we're going to do is talk about a prepositional phrase. So look at these examples here. We've got a preposition and we also have a noun after it. And together that creates a prepositional phrase. So here's an example. Over the rainbow. Over the rainbow is a prepositional phrase. Why? Because we have the preposition over, and then we also have the noun, the rainbow. Rainbow is a thing, so that's a noun. It's called an object noun because it comes after the preposition. So basically, if you think of prepositional phrase, I want you to think of things like in the morning, from Mexico, at my house. All of those are prepositional phrases. Okay, here's another example. In most countries. That's a prepositional phrase. In is a preposition, and then most countries is the noun, or countries is the noun, okay? And a quick little note here, a prepositional phrase almost never has a subject in it. It almost never has a subject in it. So we need to be careful about this when we're looking for subjects. Do you guys have your book? Does anybody have your book with you?
I have it online, but I have it with me.
Okay, so I know that's kind of hard when this video or this PowerPoint online, so it's hard to look at it. Are you able to look at page 139? Can anybody see page 139?
I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. So page 139 at the top in the box, the blue box, you can see common prepositions.
Uh-huh.
And then kind of go down a little bit. I want you to look at the sentence that says, in most countries, particular music styles exist. It's kind of towards the bottom, a little bit towards the bottom of the page. In most countries is a prepositional phrase. So that means the word countries is not the subject
No, okay.
because it's inside a prepositional phrase. And we usually do not put subjects inside a prepositional phrase. So the subject is actually musical styles. Musical styles is the subject. Exist is the verb. That was just an extra thing to look at because I want you to see that in your book. All right. Are we ready for the next practice here? We're going to look at conjugated verbs next. Anybody have questions about prepositional phrase?
No, I don't.
Okay. For homework, you guys are going to do the bottom of page 130. Page 139 because practice 4, and it's going to give you practice with looking at the prepositional phrases. So let's do number 1 together. The bottom of page 139. It says, in the past, Neanderthals may have had a musical tradition. Can anybody tell me what the prepositional phrase would be?
In the past?
Okay, good. In the past. So number 1, in the past is the prepositional phrase. And why? How do we know that? Because it starts with a preposition, in, and then it has a noun after it, the past.
Okay.
Okay? So you guys will do practice 4 will be homework, okay?
Okay.
All right, guys, let's go to verbs next. This is really important. Okay, we already talked a little bit about conjugated verbs. Conjugated verbs means the verb reflects or shows the tense and the subject. Okay? Like we had examples in our first video. We looked at different examples of conjugated verbs. So if you're still confused about that, I recommend you go back to the first video that I posted, and it has examples of conjugated verbs. But here's my point here. The verb expresses what the subject does or links the subject to other words. So let's practice looking for the verb now. It says, in college, we need to pay attention in class. In college, we need to pay attention in class. So, Lucia, can you turn your microphone on and tell me, where is the conjugated verb?
In college, we need to
Mm-hmm.
pay.
Kind of tricky.
Need.
Oh,
Oh.
yes, you're correct, Lucia.
Yes. Okay, the correct.
I like to challenge you a little bit. Yes, need is the subject. It's, I'm sorry, I'm so used to saying subject. Need is the verb. Need
The verb.
is the verb.
Okay.
All right. And what about to pay? Well, pay is a verb, but it's not a conjugated verb. Okay. And so, Lucia, turn your microphone off.
I'm sorry, teacher. I always.
It's okay, no problem. So need is the conjugated verb, but when we use to pay, that's just called an infinitive. It's not conjugated. How do I know that it's not conjugated? Let's try to change the subject and see what happens. If I say in college, she, right? Then I will say needs, right? But I'm not going to change to pay. Pay will stay the same. In college, she needs to pay attention in class. So if I change the subject to she, the only verb that's going to change is need because it's conjugated. It has to change to reflect the subject.
Okay.
What if I want to change it to the past? I can say in college, we needed to pay attention in class. Again, to pay does not change because it's not a conjugated verb. But we can change need to the past. We can make it needed. Okay? That's kind of a quick way to check if you have conjugated verb or not. Now, in your homework on the discussion board, some of you told me that attention is a verb. But if attention is a verb, then that means I can change it to the past if I want to. Yesterday, I attentioned in class. Does that make sense? Can I do that? No, I cannot. I cannot put ed on attention or ing. So attention is not a verb. So another thing to look at, college. Can college be the subject? No, because it's inside a prepositional phrase. In college is the prepositional. So in this one little sentence, we can look at a lot of things. We is the subject, need is the conjugated verb. Okay, anybody have a question about that? Just turn your microphone on.
No.
All right. In just a few minutes, we're going to do practice with these, okay? So for now, looking at examples. Let's do another example. And let me ask Isabel. Isabel, what?
Yes.
Where is the verb in this sentence? We're looking for the conjugated verb.
The verb is study.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, what about our question? Remember we asked, like, what is our priority? What is our priority? The answer is studying. So that means studying is a subject.
Is our study.
Our is never going to be a subject because it's a possessive word. It's like my, your, his, her, our. Okay, who is raising their hand? I can't see my Blackboard screen. Who knows the answer? You can go ahead and answer.
Is studying is verb.
Okay,
Is.
what's the conjugated verb?
Is.
Yes, it's is. Is, okay? And that's okay, Isabel, don't feel bad if you miss the answer because it takes time to understand subjects and verbs, okay? But is the verb, the conjugated verb here. Now, how do we know? Because this is confusing. Study is the verb because studying is something you do, but in English we have lots of words that look like verbs, but they don't act like a verb in the sentence. Because in this sentence, we're talking about something that's our priority. What is your priority? My kids. My kids are my priority. My children are my priority. My family is my priority. Maybe for another person, studying is my priority. So what we're doing is we're talking about things and people, right? Studying or my kids, my job. So when we're talking about things, people, places, and things, they could be the subject, right? And so the word studying is a thing in this sentence. It's a noun. Okay, Isabel, do you have a question about that?
No, miss.
No, teacher.
Okay. Okay, good. So let's go to a little bit more about verbs here. Action verbs. So action verbs describe an action that the subject does. So for example, if I say performed, that's an action verb. Compound verbs is when there's more than one conjugated verb in the same tense. So notice the example, Mr. Gibson makes, polishes, and sells good quality guitars. So we have 3 conjugated verbs here, 3 things that the subject does. So we have to conjugate it correctly each time with the S, makes, polishes, and sells. These are called compound verbs. It just means more than one verb. Okay? What about in this sentence? Here's a question for you. Does this sentence have a compound verb? Does this sentence have a compound verb? It says, Mr. Gibson makes guitars to sell at the market.
No.
Okay, so one person says no.
No, teacher.
2 people say no. Anybody else have an opinion? Does this have a compound verb or not? Okay, so we've got 2 votes for no. And you're correct. The only conjugated verb is makes.
Okay.
When we look at to sell is an infinitive again. Remember we said infinitives are not conjugated. Okay? All right, so let's talk about 2 more types of verbs. Linking verbs, they describe a state of being or give information about the subject. So linking verbs are not action verbs. Okay, so here's an example. That music sounds good. Sounds is not something that a person does. There's no action, but we still consider it a verb. It's a linking verb. It's connecting the subject with a description. So the music, we're describing music. Okay?
Okay.
And then helping verbs are the first of 2 or more verbs. So if I have a sentence, it says, some songs have been banned from radio station playlist. By the way, banned means not allowed. Okay? So have been banned. That's the verb. And we have inside here, we have 2 helping verbs, have and been, because they come at the beginning of the main verb. So when we have a verb that has 2 or 3 words together, then the first part will be the helping verb. And the last part will be what we call the main verb. Okay, and your book has more examples of this and more practice. You guys are going to practice looking for linking verbs and helping verbs.
Oh.
All right, and we're going to do some practice with these in just a moment. So let me explain and make sure you know this first, okay? Why are verbs so important? Why are we focusing on subjects and verbs at the beginning of our class here? And the answer is because we have to be able to identify them and write them in our own sentences. So in starting next week, you guys are going to start writing sentences for me, okay? And we're going to look and make sure we have a subject and a conjugated verb in every. All right, so I'm going to give you guys about 3 minutes to talk together, okay? And I want you guys to talk about number 1, 2, and 3. Do any of these sentences have verb errors? Are there any mistakes with verbs in these sentences? I give you 3 examples, and I want you guys to discuss and talk about any mistakes or errors. Okay, so everybody turn your microphone on, and I'm going to get a glass of water. You guys talk about it for a few minutes, and I'll come back.
Okay. On the number 1, I think it's missing the verb. She is going to now.
She's gone.
She's
Yeah.
going, right? And
Yes, I think it is.
in the second one, I'm not very sure. I think it's helping the auxiliary like to. My friends were to take. No, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think where take is where.
Is there
Number 2.
And the number
Where
2 is
take.
what?
Where take is verb.
I agree. I think it was the correct. My friend was.
I think it's
Mhm.
one. It means ing and take. My friends was taking a class.
Was
Yes,
taking a class with me.
it was.
No, I think it's correct. I think only miss the ing on take because it's my friend is plural. Oh no. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It was. My friend was.
Okay, I'm back. Are y'all done?
No.
Almost.
It's a
Okay,
little
one more. Go
confusing,
ahead.
teacher.
Go ahead. Okay, go ahead, guys. What about number 3?
I think the verb is on past. It should be get.
Yes.
Okay, so let me hear the summary. Do you guys think that any of these are correct?
No.
So you think there's mistakes in all of these?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You are correct.
Teacher, I think that the number 3 is correct.
Almost, but it's tricky. It's not. It's not correct. All of these sentences have verb mistakes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about each one, and I'll tell you about number 3 because I know number 3 is hard. So number one, well, it looks like I have a verb. I mean, she going to class now. What's wrong with that?
It's missing the verb is.
Right. It's missing a part of the verb. It's missing that helping verb
The
is.
helping.
Remember we said the helping verb is the first part of the verb. So
Mhm.
in order to have a conjugated verb, we have to make sure we spell it correctly. And this one needs is. All right? So you can say she is going or she's going to class now. And number 2, the problem is the verb spelling. You put word take, and that's not correct form for a conjugated verb. So we need to change this to simple past. Just use took. My friend took. Okay. Any questions about number 2?
So in number 2, where is okay? My friend were took.
No. You have to take out the were.
My friend was take a class.
Nope.
No.
We do not need were and we do not need was. So we take out the were and
Okay.
we change take to took. So my
Okay.
friend took a
Took.
class.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. This is a common problem I see with language learners because in your mind you think was and were, that means the past.
Exactly.
So you usually talk, maybe you say, oh, yesterday I was go to the bank or I was take a class and I was, and you're used to using was, or were for past. But we need to be careful because there's lots of verbs that are in the past, but they do not need the was and were. Okay, so number 2, we just need to write my friend took because took is already in the past. Okay, everybody got that?
Yes.
Yes.
I did.
And this, I know this class has a lot of kind of grammar in it. This is really the basics of grammar. If you wanted to take a ESOL grammar class, we go through all of the verb tenses and we talk about this specifically, how we use the past tense. But number 3, so Lucia, let's talk about number 3. Now, it sounds, when I speak, it sounds good. I say, we better leave now before we got there late, right? We better leave. But the problem is speaking is not always exactly the same as writing. So when we write, we need to remember that the verb is actually had better leave. Had better leave. But when we speak, we say it so fast, you don't hear it. When we speak, we say, we better leave. We better leave. But it's actually, there's a had, but it's in a contraction, like we'd better leave. Okay? And you don't hear it when you're listening to people, but it's actually there. It comes from this, and we need to make sure we write it. Okay? And then we have the second part of the sentence, we have another conjugated verb. We get. Okay, why do I have to use get? Because I'm talking about later. Okay, now we better leave now before we get there late. We don't want to get there late. Whenever I have the word before, after, when, I need to use, when I'm talking about the future, I have to use a simple present tense. And again, we talked about this in our grammar class, but the conjugation has to be correct. And this conjugation, we need to use simple present tense. Get. Okay. So let me know, how do you feel about this? Is this pretty challenging, or do you guys kind of understand verbs? What do you think?
Very challenging, teacher.
It's very challenging.
Very challenging. It is very challenging. I agree. Okay. If you've never taken a grammar class before, I recommend grammar if this is really challenging. You can still learn a lot, and we will do a lot and practice these verbs in this class. But if you really want to get in there and learn more, then you need to take a grammar class, okay? So, are we ready for some practice quiz questions? Yay! You know that we have it coming up next week for chapter 1. It's our chapter 1. I'm sorry, it's not chapter 1 because we're skipping around. I was thinking of my other class. We have a sentence quiz next week that is due on September 11th, okay? And the sentence quiz, I will ask you to find subjects and find verbs, all right? And you have to be able to find the conjugated verbs and underline them correctly, all right? So it'll ask you a lot of questions about sentences. So let's do some of these together, okay? I want to talk to Carolina first.
Yes, teacher.
Carolina, can you help us choose the answer? We're looking for the definition of a sentence. So Carolina, whenever you're ready, tell us what the answer will be.
It's the letter A.
Yep, good job. So a sentence has a subject and a conjugated verb, and it expresses a complete thought. Okay, so good job. All right, so you get a point. Let's go to Sammy. Sammy, can you do this one? Answer this one for us.
Is A or
Yep, A is correct again. So dogs and cats, that is going to be the compound subject because it's a subject, but there's two words or two nouns in this as a part of the subject. So we call that compound subject. Whenever you think of compound, I want you to think of two or more. Okay? So good job, Sammy. Let's go to Isabel. Isabel, you're next. The subject in the sentence is what, Isabel? It's kind of tricky.
You?
Yes, very good. You is the subject because this is a command. So it's called an understood subject. You walk to the store. I'm talking to you, so you is the subject. All right? And let's see, Lucia. Lucia, can you answer this one, please? What is a preposition? Okay, Lucia, are you there?
Word that is not a form of expression.
Do you remember the definition of a preposition?
It's a letter A.
Close. That's part of it, but
It's a letter C.
it's letter C.
Yeah.
It's going to be A and together. So
Yeah.
letter C has A and B together in it. Yeah. A word that links nouns, pronouns, and phrases to other words in a sentence, and it expresses a relationship. So that when I say relationship, we're talking about like in, on, under. It's telling you where something is. We can also use it to show time relationship, like in the morning, on Monday, right? So it's kind of adding meaning to the sentence. Okay, shares a relationship based on movement, position, time, and all of that. Okay, Gerardo, it's your turn. Can you tell us the answer to this one? We're looking for the preposition.
A.
Okay, good job. Yeah, to. To is a preposition. It has a noun after it. The tree is the noun. Prepositional phrase, to the tree. Yeah, so you're correct. To is a preposition. Okay, did I call on everybody? Did everybody answer one? Or does somebody still need to answer one question? Okay, I called on everybody. So let's do one more together and then we'll look at what the homework is. The prepositional phrase in the sentence, the runner leapt over the hurdle is, okay, so we're looking for prepositional phrase. Anybody can answer me. What do you think is the prepositional phrase?
Over
I
the
think
hurdle.
it's over.
Okay, so some of you say letter A, over.
Yes.
B.
It's the B.
Okay.
Letter B.
B.
I'm not sure. I think it's A or B.
One or the other. Well, one of those is, remember when we say prepositional phrase, a phrase always has more than one word. So letter B, yeah, letter B has a preposition and it has a noun. So that's going to be the prepositional phrase. Okay, good job. Now I'm going to skip through a bunch of these. Maybe we can come back later and look at those, but we're running out of time. So your homework, this is all listed in the Blackboard lessons folder titled Week 2. So this week you need to be inside of Week 2 folder and follow the reading assignments. Today I'll post the video for those of you who need to go back and review this, but as it's listed in the folder, I want you to do pages 139 to 145, practices 4 through 9. That's a lot, okay? That's 6 different practices. But it's all going to give you practice with the different types of verbs, and there's some preposition practice, okay? The final review is at the end of this chapter, chapter 8. The only way you can answer the questions in the final review is if you email it to me. All right? It's kind of a part where you need to write sentences. So for the final review, you can email me those answers. Oh, wait a second. Why did I say email me? You know what? You don't have to email it to me. It says underline the main verb twice. Oh, I said that because it asks you to underline things twice, and that's hard for me to show in the video screen. But you know what? It's okay. You can do the final review in your book if you want to. You do not need to email any of the answers to me. All right? I'm not taking this for a grade. Just do the practices that you want to do, and we will talk about the answers on Thursday. Okay? So that's your homework for Thursday. Now, coming up later, you need to do the practice writing assignment. That is the one that you do need to email to me. It's some sentences that you're going to write and labeling the subjects and verbs in that, okay? The practice writing assignment is listed in the week 2 lessons folder. So it is all there. It tells you what to do, all right? And you're going to submit that or send that to me on Thursday or Friday of this week. The journal assignment is coming up next week. We're going to do that. So on Thursday, I'm going to talk to you more about what the journal is. And next week, September 11th, is when your journal assignment will be due. Okay, so we're going to do some writing for practice. If you want to look at that and what it looks like, you can look in the week 3 folder. I'm going to post the week 3 lessons probably on Friday. I'll put those in Blackboard so you can check and see what's coming up, okay? I know some of you like to know what's coming up in the future, like next week. So that will be due next week, not this week. All right, so the practice writing assignment is due this week on September 4th, okay? So that's to let you know what's coming up. Anybody have questions about homework or what to do this week?
All of this is going to be in Blackboard, right?
Yep, it's in Blackboard. Yeah, this is just, I'm just reminding you what's already there, okay?
Okay.
Anybody else have a question about homework or what's coming up?
No, teacher.
No, teacher.
All right, guys. It's been a fun Tuesday. I know that was a long lesson, a lot of things to look at, but you guys did great. So keep working on those subjects and verbs, and I'm excited because next week we're really going to start writing more. This week you do have a writing assignment, but it's just going to be 5 sentences. And next week we're going to add more and just keep practicing all of this that we're talking about, okay?
Okay, teacher.
Okay, guys, y'all are doing great. And remember, you can email me any questions you have. Like, let's say tomorrow you're doing your homework and one of these is confusing, just type me an email and say, I don't understand this sentence. I can respond to you pretty quickly that way, okay?
Okay, teacher.
Great.
All right, guys, thank you. And I think it's Isabel, you're going to stay here with me. I'm going to show you how to do the My Writing Lab. But the rest of you are free to go. Enjoy your day.
Thank you,
Thank
teacher.
you, teacher.
Teacher.
Bye.